Welcome to Roguecast, the official podcast of Rogues Gallery. We'll talk comics for the week, as well as whatever news is on our pop cultural radar. I'm Randy.
I'm Nick.
This is Dave.
And now, on with the show. Welcome to October.
Oh yeah, it's like actually October is formally fall, by the way, now. Not our, many fake falls before, except it is still fake fall.
But more importantly, it's spooky season.
It is spooky season.
Or spoopy season if you're not a spooky person.
That's true. They're both options.
Yes, you can be spoopy or spooky. You can also be spoopy and spooky.
That's true.
And a third secret thing.
Sqooky.
Sqooky.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
That's scary, but also it squeaks.
Yes. Yes.
Sqooky.
Squeaks do happen a crazy amount of times in horror movies.
I mean, that is true.
There are squeaks.
At any rate, this is a good time to start watching the horror movies you've been holding on to.
Yep.
Reading some scary comics. We have some suggestions for you this week. We might, if we ever have time for it, throw together a few horror graphic novels we'd suggest to you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I do know that, I have been, softly leading into it. Sometimes I, really go, all out in September.
I usually do a full-on September.
But it's been a little bit crazy this year. So
there's been enough real-world horror that's been hard for me to get into the fake horror.
Right.
Yeah.
But, Weapons got us, I think, all sort of primed for it. We love Weapons.
Yep.
I've been listening to spooky podcasts from Knife Point Horror, which I've talked about a number of times on this show.
Yep.
Really like that podcast. Always good stuff. There's a nice little 15-minute one that came out just the other day. Good times.
All right. I watched 3 horror movies that have been on my Halloween list in the last 3 days. I may or may not talk about them if we have time at the end of the show.
I know Nick has been watching Alien
Earth,
which is great, by the way.
And that's horror-centric. Really I think it's enough to consider that goes into
definitely horrific.
Into your horror quotient.
Especially like the body horror.
Yeah.
And I don't usually like body horror, but I really liked Alien Earth.
Okay.
It's Sqooky.
Sqooky.
There's squeaks in it. It's Sqooky.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
We have our own Halloween party coming up, October 25th.
Yes.
It's our second annual, as Serena has dubbed it, Super Kids Halloween party. So we'll have some free comics to give out. We will have candy.
It's just sort of a party that takes place during the day.
During the day.
So we'll have our regular stuff going on, but we'll have goodies for the kids.
Yep.
And activity tables.
Activity tables, and also a costume contest. You come in with it's not a contest. You come in a costume, you get 15% off any one graphic novel in the all ages section.
Yep. And chances are we will give your kid lots of cool compliments and hype up whatever cool thing that they are doing.
We will not critique them.
Oh my god.
Like we do with the adults who come in costume.
Nice Pikachu. I could barely tell what it was, but I guess I know now.
That's bizarre Rogues Gallery.
We will not be doing that.
No.
It's funny.
Yeah.
But no.
All right. We got a bunch of games coming in. There'll be more coming later that we'll talk about next week. But the stuff that is in right now, Warhammer 40k, their newest RPG, Imperium Maledictum, which means something, I don't know what.
Something Latin.
Looked it up.
I believe I saw that it had something to do with Inquisitors.
Yes.
Mal is bad, so it's like the Imperium of Badadictums.
That seems right. Anyway, there's a starter box set and a player and GM guide. So if you want to try out the newest one, those are available.
Oh, so that is like their new initiative?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know these guys write, some great lore. They have cool adventures, and it's a super fun setting. Yeah. So, I don't know if people are like me, but I played some of the pre, 10, 15 years ago, their first Warhammer 40k RPG stuff.
Yep.
Which I think was also they also began with the Inquisitor stuff in the previous one, which is a good format for it, but. The Warhammer miniature game is ridiculously expensive.
Yep.
One of the reasons why we kind of stopped carrying it on the regular. But, if you get into that, you're out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. If you get into the RPG, you spend $100 or $2, and you're like, boom, you're going.
Get a bunch of books. True.
Yeah. Or just the whatever starter set and try it out. And you can immerse yourself in that cool, weird world.
Yeah. We got Earth Abundance, which is a expansion for the game Earth, which was a really popular game for a few years ago. It's just an expansion for that. We got a game called Vault Assault, where you are either trying to loot the bank or catch the thieves.
Okay, that's kind of fun.
We have Stardew Valley is back in print. The Stardew Valley board game, if you like cozy board games. This was a beloved board game that's been out of print for, I feel like, at least a year. But they got a new printing out.
Is it actually considered... I mean, it would make sense for it to be cozy, but I'm like... is it cooperative? Do you know?
I don't believe it is. But I believe it's not like
Are you gonna
hardcore.
I'm gonna wreck you and have the coziest little village you ever saw?
I don't think
my
it's
crops
that.
are gonna be so hardcore.
It is cooperative.
Aha!
It's a cooperative board game of farming and friendship.
Yay!
Yep.
That does sound better.
The One Ring starter set. Last week
Outfriend all of you pieces of shit.
Last week we got the Lord of the Rings 5e starter set. This week we have the One Ring, which is their own system.
Yep.
Their starter set over Hill and Dale, I believe that's what it's called.
Something like that. Yep.
We got a bunch of little small games. I'm just going to run them down and not talk about what all they all do. But Bad Apples, Oddland, Vegas Strip, Money, and Ruins are all little tiny box games.
Yep.
That are different variety of things. You can see if you go to our website, you can see what all of them are.
Yep, and generally, like, those smaller games are going to be like your cool kind of like little 15-minute, half-hour type games. Yep. Lots of cool little unique themes, and sometimes a good one to drop between if you're doing like longer board game sessions or you want to play a few short games instead. It's good for that stuff.
There's a game I played at BGG a few years back called Coffee Rush, which is very cute little cups, and you're trying to make lattes and all this kind of stuff. You have recipes, and you're trying to make them fast. So it's not real time, but it is like every turn you want to do this, or your customers could leave and that kind of thing. So there's a little bit of time pressure. So this expansion, Piece of Cake, adds cakes. In addition to coffee, you can make cakes, which is more work, but you can serve cakes to keep your customers happy instead of coffees.
Nice.
So it's a bump. I really enjoyed Coffee Rush when I played it. It was one of those that I was like, I don't know how often I'll play it. I didn't pick it up, but I definitely would like to play it again. So.
I had a customer said had been waiting months for this expansion and was like in right when we opened.
Yeah,
it
it's
Friday.
been a long time. This game's been out for several years. We got Dungeons and Kittens, which is a RPG, which is Dungeons and Kittens.
This looks really cute. The art style is great.
Yep.
Reminds me of the what's the animal board game that we have?
Oh yeah, Root.
Yeah, it reminds me of the kind of Root art style.
Yep, I can see that. And it is specifically is sort of post-apocalyptic. Animals have gained the ability to talk, and so it's a fantasy in a post-apocalyptic setting, and it's for all ages. It's a good little starter set. We got a game called Drop Drive, which is a lightweight sandbox game. Looks like a space-themed game. We got the Magic the Gathering Spider-Man set.
We did.
Which we're down to just boosters, basically.
Yep.
But it is we looked at the art of this like last week. All the art on all the cards it's really good.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah. And the mechanics are such that if you're not a big Magic player, you can get into it and still enjoy this.
So let me ask, I haven't looked at it closely, but like, is there something where you can like web your opponent's cards with this and like lock something in place?
I don't know. I didn't look that deep into it.
I feel like it has to have that. If it doesn't have that, I throw it to the ground.
I liked that certain cards were different colors.
Yes.
So like the black, of course, is going to be like Venom.
All the symbiotes are black,
and stuff. It was a neat kind of theme to do.
Yep.
Yeah, we looked through all the art and we're like, this is a really cool looking set.
Yep.
We got a game called Cosmo Lancer, which was originally a Renner Knizia game. It's a reskin of it, an old Renner Knizia game. This is you are freelance photographers in space. Okay. You draw a tile, you place it in a space, you place it in your hand. So it's a tile placement game. But they've changed up the theme. It used to be about medieval markets and then castles and dragons. Now it is a space freelance photographer game.
That is an unusual progression.
Yep.
I'm curious to how it works. Is it like are you competing to like take the best photos of like planets?
Yes.
Or of like a space laser or what?
It just says, I don't know what you take space pictures.
I'm going to go look into this.
Space pictures.
Right now.
Yep.
Reiner Knizia is a famous game designer. Let's see. I'm going to see what's up with it.
And then we've got the Betrayal at House on the Hill. There's a new expansion, Evil of Pennywise.
That's right. If I'm not mistaken, there's like 3 different incarnations of him, like the full big spidery monster, Pennywise the clown, and then something else.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about this week's comics, which is another big week. Graphic novels on the table.
Yep.
It is a big week of stuff, and some sort of like one shots that are kicking things off this week. So first off, we got X-Men: Age of Revelation Overture.
Right, a one-shot, but that is leading into the summer crossover. Right. It's like, you know how they do those bookends? There's like an alpha and omega. Yep. This is the alpha, basically.
So the premise of this is Revelation, a.k.a. Cypher.
Right, Cypher, the weakest mutant in the X-Men stable, who had even got killed because of it, but then kind of got brought back, I guess, by Apocalypse.
Yep.
and is now like became his heir.
Yes.
And is like crazy powerful. Like his power that he used to have just over language now allows like him to control people.
Yeah, it was input. He could understand any language and speak it.
Right.
But now he can speak language in a way that like controls brains.
Yep.
So this is it's a reverse Days of Future Past, where Days of Future Past was a story way back when where Kitty Pryde got her consciousness sent back.
Right,
into her teenage self
to try and Terminator stop it.
This is they have pulled Cyclops from our era, like X years into the future, into his current body.
Right, we would guess I think about 10 years ish.
It seems like about I
believe that X is meant to be read also 10. As the Roman numeral 10.
To find that Doug's plans have
succeeded,
covered the Earth in this plague that basically you have to be a mutant or you can't live in the United States and expanding. And so he is part of the resistance group with Magneto and Glob, of all people.
Yep. Actually, a very cool interpretation of Glob, who's like, if you don't even know who that is, Grant Morrison made a lot of weird characters when he was on the run. Yep. And Glob was like a weird, transparent skinned mutant who was like, he kind of looked like a big old hulking dude, but he was kind of a gentle giant. But now this shows that he's been sort of hardened by the war, because doesn't everything, there's kind of a wilderness adventure, almost a little bit more like, I don't know, it's not what's the zombie thing with the
Last of Us? It's got a little bit of Last of Us.
It's got a little bit Last of Us, because it's not like dystopian, like burned out cities quite. It's more overgrown. Although there is like we saw in the little prelude thing that they did elsewhere, there's like a downed shield helicarrier that's like their marketplace and stuff like that. But yeah, Cyclops kind of steps right into the thick of it here. And by the way, there's a great opening scene as he kind of becomes awake in, like, I guess the body of his future self is what it sort of amounts to, right? And he's got a cool design too. He's like, all right, people, he's like, sit rep. And they're like,
I like that
you don't know anything about what's happening. And he's like, they're like, Cyclops is always, no matter what incarnation of him it is, he's always that guy. He's like, what's going on? He's unflappable. He's like, yeah, tell me what's going on and we'll try to fix it. And
he has a beard now.
So this is the setup for, and in the back they've got the preview of all the ongoing and miniseries that are going to happen.
Yep.
Basically, all the X-Men books are suspended for 3 months, and they're all going to be renamed, kind of like what they did with Age of Apocalypse.
Yep. There's no doubt this has its inspirations in that.
But it's an interesting start. I'm curious to see where they go from here.
There's a map that's on one of their little pages in the back that has the checklist in it, and it shows like the Revelation territories, which are kind of, I don't know, East Coast and sort of some Midwest of America.
Yep.
San Francisco is the new capital of the U.S. There's the independent free nation of Texas, which we don't know exactly what they're up to, but it's in there. There's the Limbo lands that are ruled by Juggernaut and Darkchild. So Illyana and Juggernaut apparently still teaming up. Washington, D.C. has apparently been nuked, and there's the uninhabited Maine is highlighted for whatever reason. I guess it's going to play some story role. But yeah, so I didn't read Age of Apocalypse back in the day, but I think this has some of those same pleasures of like seeing what these characters how they've changed in their extreme environment. And Nick, we were talking about some of the design work that Stegman did on these, where they have that sort of post-apocalyptic look, but it's kind of Road Warrior-ish, but it's also kind of like colorful too.
Yeah.
Like it's got a little sort of superhero-iness. Magneto's like got his cloak over his armor, but it looks like it's like purple feathers that make it up.
It's got sort of like a fantasy shamanistic kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, they look a little bit more like tribal warriors or something like that. And then there is like some post-apocalyptic stuff to it.
I will say I was very, and I still am a little apprehensive about this, but
we know it's kind of a little big.
But McKay has done 2 issues so far, and both issues are my picks.
Yeah, they've both been good.
They've been really good. He has an interesting idea behind a lot of the goings on in the book,
and it's also, I sort of feel like it's like one scene after another that's kind of like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that was just terrifying.
It's like full of cool moments, just cool ideas, cool execution. There's art action that's drawn spectacularly. I was just very impressed with this across the board.
There's an albino version of Beast.
Yep.
Who is cool looking, and there's a story behind what's going on with him too. But I had honestly not had any particular interest in this other than I was interested that Jed MacKay was writing the bookend stuff in it, because he's been writing my favorite X-Men book for the last couple years. And I gotta say, like the special that they did previously, this is a good start. It's pretty cool.
And I'm curious about all the other books. I definitely want to try them all. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'd say I know the X-Men books can be a little overwhelming to people, but I would recommend at least trying this one and seeing if you want to play around with this universe and try out some of them.
Agreed.
Then we've got DC's Absolute Evil, a one-shot that focuses in on the villains of the Absolute Universe.
Super happy tale.
You know what's interesting?
It introduces the Absolute Green Arrow.
Yep.
Yes, and
brings together kind of a cadre of villains that we've seen in other books.
It's like they sort of have a boardroom meeting.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily get along.
But it's not boring like that sounds.
No, it's not boring like that sounds, because almost immediately there's a sort of, not quite violence, but kind of is violence.
There's definitely violence and implied violence.
And implied violence. Yeah. And, it actually, I was kind of worried that these books might not, the shared world thing might not work very well, that, Absolute Batman is good and Absolute Wonder Woman is good, but, their shared setting, I'm like, have they thought this through? But Al Ewing is writing this, and I think it's some of the best writing he's done.
Yeah.
I think it makes these guys scary.
Well, it's a breadth of characters that you all want to be a little bit different slice of villain.
Right.
And he gets their voices pretty well. I don't think they're...
I don't know all of them because I'm not up on everything in the Absolute universe right now. But, just to name one or two of the people who are here, there's, Ra's al Ghul.
Yep. There's Hector Hammond.
Who
apparently has been showing up in Green Lantern.
Yes.
There's the Joker.
There's the Joker. What do they call him?
The man who... Is it the man who doesn't laugh?
Or something like that, yeah.
There is a little bit of, especially given the reveal at the end of what this group is calling itself.
Yes.
Of that Absolute is sort of Bizarro world.
Yes.
Right. It is Earth 2.
What's funny is that more though, that I know that the premise has kind of been that this kind of a dark side infected universe. This is actually the most clear, I think, that's been presented.
Yeah, agreed.
That, there's kind of, this is a world where evil tends to win. And it's interesting because the villains are kind of talking about sort of longer term plans and the way their world is changing and why they have a tendency to win and things like that. And it is actually, I found it kind of riveting.
Yeah.
I was not, it's another one that I wasn't super expecting to be interested in. But is it a one shot?
It is. Yes. It's just a one shot kind of.
I feel like anybody reading Absolutes should get it.
Yeah.
Just flat out should.
I like seeing kind of the back history of the universe, all the heroes that have shown up, and then
there's actually a number of
shut down.
heroes that are seen for the first time in this. Some of them for the last time in this.
That's true.
But the interpretations are pretty cool in there. Yeah. So check it out.
In the mainstream universe, but also crossing over into the Absolute universe, we have Justice League: The Omega Act Special.
Yep.
Which is showing Krypton. I think this is regular Krypton, or is this?
Yeah, no, it's regular Krypton.
Okay.
It's with is it
Lara? Yeah,
Lara
Zor-El and Ursa.
And Ursa.
And they're doing some exploring. Time Trapper, Booster Gold, the Justice League, trying to figure out what to do about Darkseid's Legion.
Yep.
Some interesting sort of time travel stuff, and leading directly from Superman and Justice League into DCKO next week.
Yeah.
Right. KO, which we talked about before, which is going to be what sounds like a not super grimdark fight comic, a sort of Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat-ish thing with the DC characters in a structured opposition, a kind of arena, of fighting where Superman and everybody else has to do it. But I think they don't want it to be like some gory violence fest. They want it to be fun. Or at least have a fun component to it, even if the stakes are serious. But that sounded fun to me. I haven't gotten around to this, but I do want to read it because I've liked a lot of what's going on in Superman and Justice League lately.
I agree. I've been really enjoying what Joshua Williamson is bringing to the DC universe. So,
then we've got Cold Slither, another one shot.
Full title, G.I. Joe, Cold Slither. Is
it called G.I. Joe, Cold Slither?
I believe it is. Right. I looked at the
This is basically Tim Seeley's love letter to the G.I. Joe cartoon episode that features Cold Slither.
And so that may sound like Greek to you if you weren't a child of the 80s.
It's true.
But on the crazy G.I. Joe cartoon, known for its wilder elements, weather-controlled devices and stuff like that.
Bonker stuff.
The Dreadnoks, who are Cobra's like biker gang component, which that was always crazy enough, and yet the Dreadnoks were so cool. They are cool.
Yep.
There was one episode where their evil plan of Cobra was to have the Dreadnoks, who already kind of looked like a rock band, be like this metal band that would have an album with subliminal lyrics, because that was a thing in the 80s for parents to panic about, that would have secret messages to win over people to Cobra.
It's true.
And
apparently it worked.
In this one shot, it's like it happened. Like, that was the time when Cobra went and took over the whole world. And so the framework for this is like a retrospective. It's like almost like, where are they now? And will the band get back together?
It's a little mixing a kind of documentary style, but with like, this is Spinal Tap.
It is. There's some This is Spinal Tap. There is a plot to it.
There is
a plot. But it kind of involves like the wild, interviewing the band in the present.
I like that
trying to see if they're going to have a reunion. Seeing that Cobra does literally control the world, and that there's some fun twists and turns with that.
I kind of liked seeing the Dreadnoks enter into just, I don't want to say regular society, but they're
you
kind
see
of
a guy
like
with a normal marriage, a Dreadnok and his wife, and
there was just some incidental writing in here, and I think the overall message is actually one that's pretty on point.
It is. If we didn't say Tim Seeley, who's a good writer. Yeah, he's Grayson, Hack Slash. Not always like an amazing writer, but often a fun writer and smarter than you'd think on everything. He did this horror comic, something with an R, Revival. Yeah, and Hack Slash. But he can be pretty sharp, and this is a fairly sly and knowing tribute to G.I. Joe's silliness, but that has enough else going on in it, I think, to make it. If you know what Cold Slither is, or you're a Joe's fan, you should probably check it out.
What's funny is this is not in either continuity.
No, it's
not in the Real American Hero continuity. It's not in the modern Skybound continuity. It is in the cartoon continuity.
Yep. But the Dreadnoks are about to make a major play in the regular G.I. Joe book. We're going to get the Dreadnok War.
It's a Dreadnok October.
It's a Dreadnok life.
It works pretty well.
Starship Godzilla, the third in the Kaisei era. This is a motley crew has put Mechagodzilla as a spaceship and are flying around in space doing God knows what.
They are Guardians of the Galaxy-esque.
Yeah.
They are trying to, I think, I think the pitch I saw written up somewhere was that kaiju are the most powerful forces in the universe, and everybody wants kaiju eggs and access to kaiju and stuff like that.
Kaijus?
I don't know that there are in this, but it's more in this first issue there is literally a who will get this what do you call it when you have a bunch of eggs clutch?
Sure.
A clutch of
clutch of eggs.
There's a clutch of kaiju eggs that think what if the Guardians of the Galaxy was trying to keep them out of people's hands and all the ridiculous that might ensue from that. But the Guardians of the Galaxy are flying around in a giant Mechagodzilla spaceship in the galaxy. So
sounds fun.
Where let's see, I guess there's of the three shared universe Godzilla comics, there's one that follows sort of the teams that fight kaiju in their kind of Pacific Rim setting, kind of thing, semi-dystopian future. There's the one that's about the Badlands, where that's the irradiated danger zones, where there's a guy who's half kaiju. So that's their Wolverine or Drizzt or whatever kind of dude. And then there's the crazy sci-fi one here, which I feel very influenced by Firefly and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
They are kind of a crew of bickering, types. There's some secrets among them, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Roots of Madness is the third Ignition Press. I just realized now that all their releases initially are horror releases.
Oh yeah,
and they've all been good. This one is by Stephanie Williams and artist Letizia Kadenichi.
Okay,
the art is really nice, as with all the Ignition Press.
What's the book called?
It's called Roots of Madness.
Roots of Madness.
So this is about a girl who's learning cooking and stuff from her mother, but it's also healing herbs and recipes and that kind of thing. And so she's kind of it's kind of passing down a tradition of medicine woman, kind of like the woman in Sinners.
Okay.
Who had all she was the community healer and that kind of thing.
Yep.
And then it sort of jumps ahead to her as an adult, in 1905, and she is sort of applying science to these mystical remedies. And there's definitely maybe a little bit of a horror element to it of like, what if she's messing with forces that are not meant to be messed with and that kind of thing. Really good first issue. I thought this was remind me a little bit of what was the HBO show Lovecraft Country?
Yeah.
A little bit of that vibe.
Well, the company that puts these horror books out is called
Ignition Press.
Ignition Press.
Yeah. They're headed up by someone formerly an Oni Press person.
Okay,
A couple
that's
Oni
right.
Press people. Jeremy Hahn, who did The Beauty, is one of the big creators.
Yep.
But yeah, third launch from them and a third pretty strong first issue.
Okay.
Boom has The Last Day of H.P. Lovecraft. This is the story of H.P. Lovecraft in like hospice and tying into.
This is one of those ones where there's like real Lovecrafty things in his universe.
Yes, I think that's right.
I know that I was flipping through it and I thought the art was amazing.
Yeah,
in that.
it's very pretty.
It's this painted artwork that is really stunning.
Yeah. Venom 250. You might say, wait a minute, wasn't all New Venom just like number 9?
Yep.
Well,
But they added them all up.
they had all the numbers together. So this is Venom number 250.
Legacy number.
Yes.
And it is basically, you know, we weren't even 100% sure about this. We're a little confused, but it is all new Venom, right? It's,
So there are 2 stories in here.
Right.
Al Ewing. I guess Al Ewing is writing all of them. I saw Charles Soule's name.
Oh,
But I guess he writes a real small backup at the back. So Al Ewing is telling us 2 stories. One is about Mary Jane and Venom, with art by Terry Dodson, and it is about them sort of like dealing with the 2 of them are kind of on the outs. They're mad at each other, but they're still bonded to each other, and they're working on that. And they get attacked by one of their foes, which someone we hadn't seen since the early issues. And on the other story, drawn by Todd Knock, there is a Skrull warrior, a Super Skrull, I believe what they're called, they're a Power Skrull 3rd class.
like Piebok.
So he has some superpowers and shapeshifting and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And he discovers that a threat, spoiler, it's Null, is taking on the Skrull Kree alliance, and he is trying to get through to the only person he thinks who might be able to help, which is Venom.
I mean, and by the way, as spoilers go, Null, the symbiote guy, is on the cover. You know, it's
Yep.
it's not a big spoiler.
There's actually a big spoiler at the end of this, was going to lead into the Null ongoing series, and it's a good one. I liked it a
is.
lot.
Oh, what is it?
I'll also say
This is, by the way, when I work with interrogation of suspects, that's how
Sometimes just
that's how
slip
I
up.
get them.
They just like tell
They're
you.
like, "Wouldn't you like to know where the bodies are buried?" And I would like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
where are they?" And they'll
like,
just say
let's
it.
tell you.
They'll say it.
I'm like, oh, dang it, you tricked me.
Yeah, and then I'm like, "You're going to the chair."
it's a small thing, but I like that this Power Skrull has hair. As kind of his base thing. He doesn't shapeshift. He actually has hair. He outright
True.
says
That's how much power he has.
That's actually why he's sent on some assignments, because he can do hair. Yeah. Anyway, good sort of mix of space adventure and what's been going on all New Venom at the same time. Worth a read if you've been reading all New Venom, which I think we've all been enjoying.
Yes, continues to be good.
Spirits of Violence is the latest iteration of the Spirits of Vengeance Ghost Rider series they've been doing. This is a lot of the Ghost Riders. I see it's got the Ghost Rider Sorcerer Supreme. It's got the character named Vengeance, who has like the big purple skull. It's got Danny Ketch and Johnny Blaze.
If you need your monthly quotient of motorcycles, hellfire, chains, and penance stairs,
Yep.
Spirits of Violence is here for you. Is it a one-shot or is it
It is a miniseries.
a miniseries? Okay.
But there is also a new Spirit of Violence instead of the Spirit of Vengeance. So there's a new spirit.
okay.
Spider-Man Noir. This is a new miniseries featuring Spider-Man Noir fighting. I believe the organization is called the Scorpions.
Is this one where Eric Larson is coming over from Image Comics?
He is writing it. Yep.
To write it?
Yep.
I saw him posting about that on his page. That's interesting.
I think this is going to just kind of, since they're doing the Prime show.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, there's
tying
going to
into
be
that a
some
little bit.
interest in
Yeah.
Spider-Man Noir.
Yep. Spider-Man Noir has web guns.
What do you mean?
Fires guns with webs.
So you don't die?
I don't think you die. It looks like they're just web guns.
I guess he's not so hardcore.
Oh no, he's got
after
actual guns too.
Can we segue from web guns, because it's a good segue into the reprint? Because
Oh yes, sure.
all. You know what it should make, by the way, real quick, the sound when he fires them? What was it? Sqooky?
Sqooky,
Yes. Yeah.
Sqooky.
Yeah.
So yes,
no, what was
they're doing their first legacy or not legacy. What's it called? Facsimile reprint.
Yes, of the
Of
amalgam.
Amalgam.
Yeah.
Right, from the 90s when Marvel and DC did those characters that were like a mixture of part Marvel, part DC, and all the lore in them would also be a mixture of it. So, like, instead of just being Shield, it'd be like Shield combined with what would they combine it with?
Checkmate.
Checkmate or something like that. Yeah,
But
anyway,
so this one is
Spider-Boy.
So it is Spider-Man mixed with Con-El.
Yes,
the Superboy who was white hot from the moment because Superman had only just died.
Yep.
And this cool kid came on the scene with his round shades. How cool
And
was
so
that?
he's a clone created by the Cadmus Project.
Yep.
And so they've got that. They're the supporting cast.
I think one of the biggest thing is the artist by Mike Ruringo.
Yep.
Right?
Super talented artist that died.
Yeah.
Too young.
It's very it's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. There's some really fun ideas in here.
This was a lot of people's favorite Amalgam book.
I mean, I can see why. It's been a while since I've read it.
There is an amalgam villain who is a combination of Carnage and Bizarro, and I believe his name is Bizarnage.
Bizarnage.
Yep. It is the kind of goofy stuff the fun that they're having with that stuff. But I do think that the writer Carl Kiesel, he took it seriously enough that it's not treated as a joke within. It's just it's that's the world these characters live in.
He was writing the Superboy book at the time, which is why he was the writer.
Okay, that makes sense.
But I'm really hopeful this means they're going to put a few more of these.
Well, they've already announced they're going to do the other Spider-Boy because there were two amalgams.
2 issues.
Yeah, and this one is this is the second one. But I'm hoping we'll get all
For
of them.
nostalgia purposes, I just want Dark Claw.
Everybody wants Dark Claw, Nick. I'm shocked they didn't do Dark Claw. Dark Claw is Batman Wolverine. If anything is marketable, it's a Batman Wolverine.
Also, Super Soldier.
And Super Soldier.
But that may be like they're kind of like, well, we'll do a few of these, then we'll give it a shot in the arm by doing it as popular characters.
This is about as nostalgia as comics get for me, because when these were coming out, I thought these were such fun ideas.
I love these. I have my single issues turned into a custom hardcover. I love this universe, so I'm very excited to see it. Marvel also has White Tiger Reborn, a one-shot reintroducing Hector, the
Actually, I heard it was Ayala or whatever, or maybe she's just in the framing device.
No, she's the lead.
She's the lead,
but I'm going to say the ghost of Hector is involved in this because she got mystical amulets and stuff.
I think that's okay to say. Yeah.
So that
sounds cool.
Good, but
it's like a one-shot,
just
right?
a one-shot. Yeah. Gotham Academy first year. Dave, you read this.
Yeah, I read. There were like I think kind of 2 iterations of Gotham Academy before. This is their kind of spooky dark academia. Not real dark. This is their answer to Wednesday, or what would have at the time been like Hogwarts.
Yeah.
And it follows like very normal but kind of quirky. Some kids through the eyes of a new arrival in this one. Her name is Olive something. I forget what her last name is.
Yep.
And there's like, it's a very gothic place. It has secret. The kind of fun here is there are like secret passages in this and weird libraries and stuff like that. Olive's mother has been dealing with like mental health issues and is like in Arkham Asylum. And there's a cool scene in this where she like goes not as part of like a school trip or anything, but she goes to like visit her mom. And while she's there, one of the inmates who's like mopping the floors is Crane. Who's the guy who's the scarecrow? Jonathan Crane. He's like, oh, I'm Jonathan Crane. He's like the cocktail of drugs that they're giving your mother. I know who she is, and he's like, I don't think they're actually treating her right, and he actually gives Olive something. He's like she's using. I'm going to try to get this to her. Here's some for you, and I'm like, this is some crazy shit. Was it Brendan Fletcher? I think is he the main writer?
Yeah, it says the story is
There's a few people involved.
Is Becky Cloonan, Brendan Fletcher, and one of the other original creators. It has very much the voice of them from before, and
there's a few things it's not quite my ideal.
Carl
Kerschel.
Yep.
It's not quite my ideal version of this premise. But I end up liking what they're doing, and the art has been, on every iteration of this, has been really good. So if you've got like a kid who likes Wednesday, or you like Wednesday, or Hogwarts, and that kind of general idea, here's a fun one set in Gotham. This was made to be approachable, even though it's actually like a prequel to the ones that came before, so you're not expected to know anything about it. I give it a recommendation. I like it.
And I will say, Batman does show up.
Batman does show up, and maybe even has some involvement with the thing that got Olive's mom into Arkham.
Yep.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff in there. By the way, they did do a one-shot, which is one of my like favorite Batman stories in recent years that was so good. When, what do you call it, when Snyder was writing Batman and Joker had like gassed all of Gotham, there was a bit where at the school they go into lockdown and all the kids can't go back to their dorms, so they're like, we're going to hole up here in the gym until the air clears outside. And while they're in there, this was like an annual, the kids are like literally in tents inside the school gymnasium staying for like a few nights, and they start talking about the Joker and the urban legends around him, and they give 3 different versions of what they've heard of like what he is. Like, oh, I heard he's an incarnation of an ancient spirit of cruelty or something, and somebody else is like, oh no, I heard this, and that was like so good. So so I know that they can like hit some heights, and I'll be watching it.
DC's Halloween one-shot is Zatannic Panic.
Zatannic Panic.
A bunch of stories in here. You know the deal on these at this point. I see it features Zatanna, Plastic Man, Raven, Ambush Bug, the Warlord, the Demon.
The Warlord. That's an unusual one. Didn't you say, Nick, that there's some decent talent on this one? They always have some good ones.
they're always decent talent. This one has a story. The Plastic Man story is by Daniel Warren Johnson, who's been writing Transformers. Drawn by Riley Rosmo, who, if you like his art style, it's kind of a you can't miss this.
Yep.
John McCrae, who drew Hitman,
among other things,
draws the Zatanna story, which is fantastic. I think the highlight for me, because I did sneak a read in here, it's a silly one, but it is a Swamp Thing Constantine story.
Okay.
Where Constantine has been scratched by a werewolf, so he's slowly turning into a werewolf as they hunt the person who did it.
That sounds kind of fun.
It was a ton of fun. This is just a really good, like, all the art is fun.
None of these stories were ever too serious.
No, but it's... Randy's right. If you like these, you're going to want to pick this up.
Yep. A new image book called The Author Immortal. I
read this one. This was kind of an interesting premise. Did y'all read this?
No.
I started it.
So I can tell you, there is a guy who's like a middle-aged author who... He's actually an English professor.
They describe him as a failed writer.
He's a failed writer, and he's, I think, also like cheating on his wife with one of his students. He's a flawed kind of dude.
Yeah.
But there's a character who's, honestly, a pretty obvious J.K. Rowling analog.
Yes.
And she's, like, I think acquired the rights to some famous fantasy property. It'd almost be, I think, if she got the Lord of the Rings rights.
Right.
And she's like, I want to start putting these books out. She has a meeting with him. She calls him specifically. His wife is like, oh, my God, we could get out of debt. And she's really pressuring him to take this no matter what it is. And so the sort of Rowling analog is, like, pretty harsh in this. I have a feeling it might be pretty close to the real thing. She's like, people don't love me, but I'm going to attach my name to this. You're going to write these stories. We're going to bring back like Tolkien stuff, or these fantasy characters. And you'll be set for life. But you're also going to like play. I'm going to take the spotlight.
So like in the real world, she's evil.
She's evil. And but there is something more to it. There is some sentience to these stories. And a dangerous sentience, like they don't want to be changed, maybe. They don't want to be messed with. And so there's some dark, sort of shadowy creatures associated with them. I thought it was an interesting first issue and kind of told through sort of flawed protagonists.
Dave, I think there's a fantasy element here that you're not mentioning, right? Is that the twist?
I don't know what... I already said that the stories were like alive, kind of.
Well, in the premise, in the press release they sent out on it, it says he gets pulled into the world.
Yes. I don't think they actually quite get to that until sort of near the end. But I don't know if it's going to be like a permanent thing or if he's like, I can access it.
So it sounds like their pitch for this. I don't know how much that the original author has disappeared into the world, and he basically winds up in that world with her.
Missing.
Yeah. And so it's maybe that the reboot author, this new guy, and the original author are going to be in this world that the principals created, and they're going to have to like fight their way through it.
Something like that, I think.
Which reminds me of like the Unwritten.
I was going to say this has a lot of vibes.
Some of those.
Yeah, Unwritten was a Vertigo book with some sort of living stories ideas.
Yeah.
And I think this one is worth a look. Image, takes it seriously. Oh, and I really liked the art. And that sort of stylized art that reminded me of Guy Davis. And had some kind of cool watercolor type coloring. So, I would recommend the author Immortal.
We have a one-shot called Good Devils Don't Play Fair with Evil. This has 3 stories in it. One's a post-apocalyptic, one's a boxing story, that are written by David Brothers, former comics journalist and writer.
Okay.
But the big selling in this is all Nick Dragotta from Absolute Batman.
Yep.
This is basically a showcase for his art doing other stuff. So if you like Absolute Batman and want to see sort of more an indie take on that, you want to give that a look. Masters of the Universe has a one-shot Andra. I don't know who this character is.
I'm going to guess from the Kevin Smith era, but I don't know either.
I don't know. But if you like Masters of the Universe, they got that. Mad Cave has a book called Gunpowder Prophets by writer Justin Jordan.
When I was making the sign for this, they described it as almost like a sort of a very knowing exploitation comic.
Yeah.
It's meant to be, I think, kind of a trashy...
It's a pair of monster hunters, one of whom is a little bit more sophisticated, and the other one is a big, burly, tear your head off kind of guy.
Yeah.
And they get dragged into something too dangerous for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice, really nice art. It's got a who's the Primal and Samurai Jack? It's got a Tartakovsky look to the art.
I'll tell you a funny scene I saw it in that has a funny swear word or swearing in it.
Yep.
A guy, one of them is pointing a gun, and the bad guy does some mystic mind whammy thing on him, and his gun in his hand appears to turn into a snake.
Yep.
To the hero guy, and he says, "Oh, we're doing the mind fuckery, I see." So it's a kind of a fun, trashy Monster Hunter book.
Yeah, I dug this first issue quite a bit. It's one of my favorite things I read this week, actually.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Street Fighter has another swimsuit special. Archie has another Halloween spectacular. And then we've got Department of Truth number 0, which I forget what is it Elvis? It was some notable conspiracy in Department of Truth.
Department of Truth is the series where, I'm going to probably bungle this, but kind of like if conspiracies are believed in enough, they become true.
It is
and there's some
Elvis.
Agency who tries to keep these things from happening.
Right, and this is a special about Elvis.
That sounds fun. And we should say, is it still by Tinian?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I wasn't sure if he was working with anyone on it. But yeah, it's James Tinian. That guy can write everything.
Speaking of James Tinian, Exquisite Corpses gets issue 2 and 3 reprints.
Oh, cool.
Universal Monsters Invisible Man gets a reprint. Also James Tinian, I believe.
Yep. Barn burner of a first issue.
It's a Tinian Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tinian Tuesday.
And then we got some graphic novels. We have this new one from Adam Ellis, who does some online comics.
He does a lot of funny web comics. He's been doing those for like 10 or 15 years.
Yeah. Yep. But he does these horror books, which, Dave, you read the last one. You really liked it.
I loved it. I unqualifiedly recommend it. It's like, the previous one, if this is like it, was like, let's say like 12 short stories, sometimes with him changing up his art style even a little bit within them, that were all cool little Twilight Zone-ish kind of creepy. Well, they ranged from creepy to body horror to each. You never knew what kind of story you were going to get.
There are 10 stories in this one. Going to be the same kind of vibes. Really nice little hardcover. It's called Let Me In Your Window. The previous one was called Bad Dreams of the Night. I am in enough of a spooky mood, and I like this guy's webcomics. I need to check this out.
It's a day one buy for me.
Nice.
I easily recommended the previous one, and I'm sure I will probably talk about this one specifically next week. Very high chance I'll like it.
G.I. Joe Real American Hero Compendium. This is the big oversized original G.I. Joe stuff. This is 51 to 78, yearbook 2 through 4, and special missions 1 through 15. So this, I think, is, Dave, where you and I had both kind of gone off the book at this point.
Right. This would kind of go up through the very tail end of what I was reading back in the 80s and early 90s, I guess.
But you were getting the special mission stuff.
I did get all the special missions.
Special missions is kind of fun because instead of Cobra, they're up against, like, real threats.
It's real-world stuff, like, hostage takers and stuff like that. Sometimes from named places. There is a great story in issue like 3 or 2 of it, which will probably be in this. Where it's this multi-part kind of story with this Nazi in hiding in South America, and it's the first time they ever talk about Clutch having a Jewish heritage, and so this is like kind of a meaningful thing to him. And the reason they need to try and track this dude down is it turns out there was a secret mission to they were going to have set up refueling stations in World War II and get a bomber carrying chemical warfare weapons to America. And it had to had to stop in Greenland to refuel. The plane had crashed, was frozen in the ice, and was now like ice had been melting and it was coming uncovered, and all of its poison is going to like leak out into the water. And they're like, we need to know how to neutralize this when it happens, because it's going to happen. So you have one mission team that's going into this half frozen in the side of it, like it's like Avalanche, or not Avalanche, but who's
Iceberg.
the Iceberg, and who's their main mountaineer? Black guy.
Oh,
Alpine and those guys rappelling down there, trying to get into it, while Clutch and his gang team up with like these like Israeli Nazi hunters in South America to like try and get to this guy first. They like want to kill him, and Clutch is like, we got to get the information first. And there's a fantastic fucking ending. Anyway, that's just one story from Special Missions. Obviously, it's worth it for the whole shebang. This has art from... One of my favorite weird artists was Tony Salmons. Mm-hmm. Just did a few issues, random issues of G.I. Joe. This is one of those ones that actually happens to take place in South America, too, I think in their fictional Sierra Gordo country. But he drew, like, the coolest Awe-Striker I've ever seen. The big G.I. Joe sort of dune buggy sort of thing. And these are all also, by the way, these G.I. Joe compendiums are reprinted on beautiful pulp paper. So these look exactly like the comics that we were reading, like, in the 80s. They are printed on the proper paper. It's good stuff.
We've got the Godzilla vs. Marvel Universe trade, which collects all the one-shots.
Oh, yeah. Man, those are, a lot of those kept selling out, and people were endlessly looking for them.
And they were fun.
And they were fun, yeah. Each one kind of was its own thing.
We got the Predator versus Spider-Man trade, which is the third in the... It's Wolverine, then Black Panther, now Predator, Spider-Man, which leads into Predator Kills the Marvel Universe, currently running.
And all part of a shared continuity, right?
Yep.
They are meant to build on each other.
The Star Trek Voyager Omnibus, which is a big softcover collection of all the Star Trek Voyager stories.
I'm kind of... that's from the IDW era.
Yep.
I'm kind of tempted by it. They just did this... they put out a trailer for that upcoming Voyager game that looks like it's kind of like... it recreates the entire lost years that the Voyager is trapped in the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah.
And you kind of like both manage the ship and its resources. Like it's a resource management game with this big cutaway view of the ship, but where you see little animated people working in every single like station inside the ship. So you're clearly like the XCOM base building are going to be kind of managing the ship. You will go through the actual adventures that they had on the show and have to make the harsh moral decisions and figure out what you need to do to keep the ship going. And then periodically, I think, pew-pew it stuff, too. There's some kind of combat component. But anyway, it's all had me reminded me of the stuff I like about Voyager. And I'm like, maybe this would be the right time for some Voyager comics.
Then we got two big hardcover omnibuses from Marvel. X-Men Age of Krakoa, Dawn of X1. This is all the stuff right after. So it's... X-Men 1 through 7, X-Force 1 through 8, Marauders 1 through 8, Excalibur 1 through 8, Fallen Angels 1 through 6, New Mutants 1 through 7, and a couple issues of Wolverine. The big chunk of the opening...
This is like... Is this the core, essentially, of the Krakoa era?
Yes.
Like the core launch of it?
Yep.
Okay. Now, people have been buying those trades for years and years now, but like sometimes they go out of print. They're not always available. This is... And it was a big picture kind of story.
It was?
Like if you were reading it all, it was meant to kind of tie in. They had text pieces in there that filled out the world, I remember. Mm-hmm. Not just from Hickman, but from, kind of inspired by him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if that is an era that you want to check into, and you have the means, I highly recommend the Omnibus.
X-Men Blue and Gold Mutant Genesis. This is the 90s block. This is the X-Men era that bought Chris Claremont a jet.
If I'm not mistaken, you kind of had Claremont and Jim Lee on one, and then Claremont and like Wilche Portacio and some other people.
Correct.
On the other
team. This also has Liefeld's X-Force, I think. Or maybe it's not Liefeld, actually. So it's X-Men 1 through 16, Uncanny X-Men 281 to 297, and then the crossover, the Executioner's song crossover.
Was 281 to 297, was that kind of the first Jim Lee stuff, if I'm not mistaken?
No, that is Portacio.
Oh,
came out at the same time as Portacio.
Okay, yeah. But this is a pretty iconic era of the X-Men in the 90s. This was from what was then and could even still be like the highest selling comic of all time, which was like that X-Men #1.
And I believe this is also essentially the swan song of Chris Claremont.
Right.
This was the last stuff that he wrote.
Last major outing he did for X-Men.
Going back to single issues, we have Batman #2 this week, which I think we all really like.
Oh, yeah. This is like, having a Batman #1 is pretty rare when they're not doing like a full line-wide relaunch. And yeah, that first one by Fraction and who's the artist?
Jorge Jimenez.
Jorge Jimenez was a really good kickoff, and I quite like this second issue.
This one focuses on Tim Drake.
Yep.
Yeah, Tim Drake, actually, he's kind of a badass in this.
Yeah, he is. He's great in
Like,
this.
he does something, and it's honestly... It's not just like his computer skills and stuff. He's like kicks some physical ass in this.
Yeah, this is the
while under like severe duress.
This is Tim Drake to me. I feel like a lot of people have not gotten Tim Drake right in a long time.
Yeah.
And this is the right Tim Drake for me.
Well, and there's
also
some like fun stuff in it. In addition to Fraction's kind of playing up a little bit of the gadgetry, which reminds me in a fun way of the Arkham games. You know, when you would upgrade and stuff like that. But also like Damien is in this, and he's being a little shit in kind of a pretty entertaining way.
Yep.
He's like there while Tim Drake is being trained, and like he's kind of like, what's even the word I'm looking for? He's making fun of him. He's being Damien, throwing shade at him and stuff like that. And he's like, "Father, just let me take over."
Also, further proof that Gotham cops suck.
Yep.
Yeah, that historically.
Cheetah and Cheshire robbed the Justice League. None of you are reading this, and you should be.
Nick and I are reading this.
The three people in this room are all reading it.
Yes.
But our audience, we are not selling very many of these.
Yeah, that's true.
And this book is insanely good. It's Greg Rucka's Ocean's 11 with supervillains, and I love it.
DC right now is kind of cooking.
Yeah.
There's the absolute line, for me at least, there's like Batman, there's this Cheshire Cheetah thing that's really good. I'm liking
Superman, Justice League.
Yeah, and you know, I feel like there's even a few like weird little side projects and stuff, you know. It's a pretty good time for DC, I feel like.
Absolute does have, in addition to Absolute Evil, there is a new issue of Absolute Superman and an issue of Absolute Green Lantern this week. Also, I want to mention I'm still really enjoying the Red Hulk series.
Oh yeah,
they're doing some really interesting stuff with it. I'm not a big Red Hulk fan, but
I was looking at like
it.
the characters involved. Basically, Red Hulk, aka General Thunderbolt Ross, has like is this still kind of considered under Doom's
He's running
reign?
an insurgency against Doom, and his soldiers include Machine Man and Deathlock.
Yeah, it's a cool, weird mix. I love B and C listers like that.
Yeah, it's fun. And then Amazing Spider-Man this week. Now we get the big reveal that Peter's in space. He is in the midst of Imperial, which means he can't even get home because all the space travel is messed up and there's all civil wars going on.
He's in a mix of like ragtag characters.
Yep, which includes Rocket Raccoon, a little cute Jeff-esque looking Venom symbiote.
Yep.
And some other characters, some other aliens.
I have only flipped through this, but the interaction between him and Rocket I thought was quite good.
It is quite good.
Other stuff? Did I get everything?
I think you got everything.
I think that's everything for me. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna take a break and then we're gonna quick talk about some movie trailers, and we'll be back in just a second. Okay, we got a few trailers to talk about. Let's dispense with one of them quickly. There's the final trailer for It, Welcome to Derry, which we've talked about a couple times.
Yeah.
This is the HBO Max series. I think all of us are very skeptical.
Yeah. Well, I put this in here hoping that it would be a trailer that would win me over.
And it did not?
I don't know if it did.
Period piece. It looks great. Looks expensive.
Yeah.
But as Dave said, we've been watching it. It's like, what if it was a different set of kids?
Yeah. It literally, but looks like a similar set. I recognize a few things that, from the books that hadn't quite made it to the movies.
Yeah.
But kind of how the way the Jurassic Park movies, they're like 7 movies in, and every once in a while they're like, oh yeah, there's a scene from The Lost World that never made it because it was too expensive, or whatever. And they're like, well, now we use that. And I'm like, you're just kind of like, well, did you get everything? Have you mined the mine completely?
You got little odds and ends, bits. Yeah.
It feels a little bit like that's where they could be. There seems to be a little bit of focus. I think I saw Mike Hanlon is the black kid in the group, right? In the original It kids.
Yeah.
They're all called.
There was another
Hanlon,
kid named Hanlon, which his dad figures into the story in the novel.
Well, I thought that, but I think it was Dick Halloran.
Well, Dick Halloran is supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
But Hanlon is separate.
That's true.
Well, they did call her Mrs. Hanlon.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is,
Halloran,
so I think that's
the kid's
grandparents.
family, and I think that they are like... oh, right, because this is based on the movie continuity where the events took place in the 80s.
Right.
So they would have... This is going to be a rethink of it.
Yes.
But yes, famously, Dick Halloran from The Shining was... kind of Stephen King, connecting up his books and stuff.
Yep.
Was at like a nightclub that was like for African Americans that like was burned down by some racists in Derry in the book, and but he has a little flash of it to get out because he has The Shining. And but it's a minor part of the story. But it's like it does look like they are kind of working it in there. It looked creepy. It had there's some cool special effects.
It looks well run. If I thought there was any point in doing this, I would think this was well done.
It seems a little tapped out.
But they did 2 seasons of Castle Rock, which was sort of a Stephen King TV show, and it was like original, and it was more interesting.
But it didn't catch on.
It didn't catch on. I mean, 2 seasons is not nothing.
No, it's true.
At any rate,
I think there's a solid chance that when this debuts, I'm going to want to watch the first episode just to see.
I will watch the first episode.
But, yeah, I don't feel like it's going to bring enough to the table.
But I have kind of soured on the It movies, so...
Yeah, the more recent ones I was not big into. Again, some not without their moments.
They're okay.
But...
You guys are going to love It 4 2025. It takes place in space in the future.
Here's the crazy thing.
Space orgy?
Space orgy.
There is a set timeline to Pennywise's attacks. I believe it's like every 27 years or something like that, or 28 years. 28. I remember at the time trying to figure out why Stephen King came up with that number, and at first I thought it was maybe because, you know that thing where like Kurt Cobain and Dean, oh my God, who's the James Dean?
Yeah,
they all like died at like 27 or 28, and I was trying to figure out if that like was almost like the mythic totemic number.
I think the better answer is drugs.
Maybe, but there's a lot of... He also thinks things through a lot, even on the drugs.
I went for the cheap joke, Dave.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. But anyway, but the point is, you could stage stories set in the past any basically 27 years, and I don't know if he only ever messed with Derry or, infected in other towns or anything like that. But he's been around since prehistoric times.
It's true.
We know when he was drawn from his other dimensional thing.
We should see the dinosaur version of Derry.
Let's see the dinosaur version of Derry. Let's see the Old West version of Derry.
I'm more interested in that than this, to be honest.
The Civil War version, the American Revolution version.
Yeah, like if we were going to see Derry throughout time and how the creature like manifests and all that, but this looks exactly like every It story I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it does. Anyway. Not cautiously pessimistic, just pessimistic.
Yeah.
Pennywise taking down a T-Rex.
I think it's very unlikely I'm going to watch this. On the other hand, Star Wars Visions Season 3, I am almost certain to watch, and I think I'm going to go back and watch Season 2, because I watched the first season.
Yeah.
Did you watch these, Nick?
I've watched the first season. I haven't watched the second season.
The first season, it was so cool because they were not hidebound to Star Wars continuity.
Right.
They were like doing their own versions of it.
They could do kind of ode to Star Wars.
And there was 7 different 7 or 8 different studios.
Very different styles.
All in different styles and some really great stories.
I mean, I remember there was like a rock band.
There was a rock band
that was really fun.
There began, I think, with the one that was like the full samurai interpretation, like a Ronin Jedi.
That character has appeared in every iteration.
Right. That one is kind of the iconic one.
It's really
cool. It has that cool, scratchy kind of rotoscoped animation style to it. Here, there is like what looks like a continuation of that.
Looks like it includes a Twi'lek. Him going up against the Twi'lek.
There is a kind of a fun poppy-looking one that had like... Somebody looked like they almost had like mech armor that was like almost like X-Wing mech armor or R2-D2 mech armor or something like that.
Droids like merged onto them.
Yep. There is a very adorable looking little puffy Ewok who looks like he has an adventure.
Yep.
And had some very endearing animation in that. It was almost Totoro-esque.
It did look very reminiscent.
And you know what? John Williams' music can still do a lot of heavy lifting. He played the theme that's I think Yoda's theme. When he lifts the X-Wing and Empire Strikes Back. And that music is like so good that I found myself feeling emotional watching this trailer for an anime version of Star Wars.
I'm super excited for this. I'm not a big anime fan either, but the first season was great.
But the reinterpretations of Star Wars, I think, really make it.
It's fun to see that lore drawn on it. And everybody knows that Lucas, he's never tried to hide how much he was inspired by Kurosawa and stuff like that, and samurai films. And so to kind of play around with that lore seems like it's a win-win.
Yeah, agreed.
So we also saw the gameplay trailer for Marvel's Wolverine.
Right.
Which, I'm not the world's biggest Wolverine. I mean, he's fine. But this is by Insomniac Games, who did the Spider-Man games, which is probably the best Spider-Man
sort of
ever
PS4
done.
era Spider-Man,
and PS5, yeah.
I don't know, this looks pretty cathartic.
Yeah, it
is a limb chopping, face stabbing Wolverine with like a very AAA graphics level.
Yeah.
And you can sort of see the moves of the combos being executed in the same way as like an Arkham game or the Spider-Man games and things like that. But it looks pretty cool. He's using his claws to like climb up stuff, to vault around real fast.
I think I was endeared.
Stab the shit out of people.
I found it endearing that you could be either like street clothes Wolverine, you could do the cowboy hat, and
right.
That's his best look.
or the costume.
I mean, if it's like the Spider-Man game, they're going to have every costume you want.
That's true.
Yep.
They also show him on a motorcycle, which is cool. They showed Mystique, they showed Omega Red, and they showed a Sentinel.
Yep.
Apparently, this is part of a planned trilogy of X-Men games.
Oh.
So if they did like a second one that was Gambit, or like a third one that was like Psylocke, or like you could have some fun with this.
Yeah, you could take any of their sort of characters who, like, it doesn't look like this particular format would be conducive to, say, Storm. She's kind of too big for that,
Right.
I think. But, honestly, Jubilee, Gambit, anybody like that?
I would not be shocked if we're not learning that we're going to see some people like Jubilee or Gambit or Yukio. We do see Madripoor in the Princess Bar.
Yep.
Yeah.
You get the ability to like run around as Wolverine on the streets of Lowtown and Hightown. That is
cool.
right up there. I'm very excited about this now.
I don't have a PS5.
I have a PS5.
My housemates
So
have
you're saying I just have to fight you, take it from you, and then...
That's what I'm saying.
my housemates have a PS5, so I have a PS5.
Oh, look at you.
I haven't used it yet, but I understand it exists.
Yep. And then the Bride. This is Maggie Gyllenhaal's first movie?
No, second.
Oh, second movie, okay.
I can't remember the title of her first one. It was a more kind of down-to-earth story about parental, like, just like moms who are screwed up.
Dr. Euphronius brings a murdered young woman back to life to be a companion for Frankenstein's monster.
I believe that is the name of the doctor in the original Bride of Frankenstein.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to say that name sounds familiar, or it's very close to it.
Dr. Euphronius is played by Annette Bening.
Oh,
That's
okay.
cool.
And
Good
then
actress.
Well, wait a minute. This is... The Bride is that not Maggie Gyllenhaal? I thought it was.
No, Maggie Gyllenhaal is not. It's
Jesse Buckley. Okay,
yeah.
I thought that was Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Who's Jessie Buckley?
She's been in a bunch of stuff. I'm pretty
She's
sure.
the Bride of Frankenstein.
Well,
She is the Bride of
You
Frankenstein.
got to tell me the most famous thing she's been
She
in.
has been in a lot of things I've never seen.
Okay.
She's an Irish actress.
Okay.
She was in Men, that 2022 movie, Men.
Right, I remember that existed.
Yeah.
So but the hook here seems to be well, first of all, it's kind of a pop trailer, but it is set in the 1930s.
Yep.
And the energy, as Nick noted in the thing, is kind of Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde, and
it is like the Frankenstein monster and the Bride on the run with Tommy guns and violence and
her Frankenstein monster is Christian Bale.
Yep. I've always thought of him as a monster.
The look of it is great. Like
Yeah.
it looks really good.
I think this looks kind of cool.
It's got my interest.
Well, I like the Bonnie and Clyde element. Just it's so different from what
Yeah.
Frankenstein usually is. So.
And traditionally, like the short sort of version of like the original Bride of Frankenstein is that he kind of like forces, I guess, the doctor to create a bride for him. Then she rejects him.
Yep.
And then he freaks the F out.
Yep.
And I can't remember, but they both get destroyed in the end, I think. So it's dark. I kind of like the idea of them maybe being connected and on the run.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Bonnie and Clyde part kind of looks fun.
Yeah.
And it, like I said, it looked a little bit pop and like it'd probably be serious enough when it's serious, but there is a bit of fun happening here, I think, too.
One last bit of news. Simpsons 2 is coming in the summer of 2027. They're making another Simpsons movie for theater, which is wild to me.
I mean, it's not like this... I guess the franchise still makes enough.
How long is this? 30 years?
You re-dipped your toe like some years ago.
I did.
And you had some fun doing it. You enjoyed the revisit, I think.
I guess every 18 years we're going to get or every 20 years we're going to get a Simpsons movie.
I've never seen the Simpsons movie. I remember the
neither.
trailer when he says Spider Pig.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yep.
And now it's time to do it again.
Yep. Apparently so.
But and see if Pennywise is summoned, I guess. But sure, in its heyday, we've talked about this many times before. But in its heyday, I think Simpsons was one of the greatest things that was ever invented for TV.
Yep.
It's been kind of moving, limping along ever since. It's not my thing, but like I've seen scenes that are good in it, and so I know that it's not like awful or anything like that. And
I dip in every now and then and watch it. I am still blown away that it's still on.
Yeah, so it's a little bit wild.
37 seasons. 37 seasons.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Debuted in 1989.
It laughs at Always Sunny's reign of terror.
Yeah.
It laughs at every other television show.
It laughs at every other television show.
Right. Yeah. I just found that interesting that they're going to do another one. All right. That'll wrap it up for us this week. We'll be back next time with more. And until that time, yo, Joe. Roguecast is a weekly podcast broadcast from Rogues Gallery Comics and Games in Round Rock, Texas. You can find us online on Facebook and at www.roguesgallerytx.com and email us comments or questions at roguesgallerytx@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.